Hey, what is up, guys? It's Brendan here, and today we're going to be taking a look at 5 of the best personal finance software tools when it comes to managing and tracking your overall income, expenses, setting a budget, and even keeping track of your net worth when it comes to your overall investments, whether that's stock market, real estate, or even anything that you may own as well. So that's what we're going to be diving into here in today's video. What are some of the best personal finance tools and personal finance software out there on the market for you to help keep track of everything, especially in this digital age when many people have multiple different checking accounts, savings accounts? These are the best tools to use to keep better track of all of your accounts and keep a good eye on where your overall personal financial picture looks. We're going to be taking a look at pros, cons, pricing, comparisons between all the different tools. And if you do want to check out any of the tools mentioned here in today's video, you can go and check out those links linked down below in the video description. Again, some of which are affiliate links, which can be a great way to help out and support the channel. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the number one spot on this list for personal finance software. Now, the number one spot here is with Quicken. Now, Quicken is originally a desktop tool that they have now made on the cloud as well, so you can do it on your mobile device, you can do it on your laptop, computer, wherever you want to access it. A lot of people do just use the app, and it's a pretty powerful tool. They also have the ability to set spending plans, so you can set a budget as well as manage your overall savings, credit, debit, as you can see here, credit, debit, investments, net worth, refunds, subscription tracking, retirement. So you really do get all of those features, and they are one of the cheaper paid tools in this list. A lot of the tools in this list do have either a free version and a paid version. Quicken, this is just a paid tool, although it is one of the cheapest paid tools when you're comparing the pricing of a lot of the different offers, and currently they actually do have a percentage off. Of course, that varies depending on when you're watching this video or when you take a look at the pricing pages to get the most realistic and up-to-date pricing on all the different tools mentioned here in today's video. Now, I will say in most cases, it probably is it may be worth it for you to go with a paid tool. This is one of the cheaper options out there compared to a lot of the other ones out there. On the list, you can connect all your different financial accounts. You can set the spending plans like I mentioned as well. You can also track your overall spending per month. And they do have pretty good charts. They do have a lot of different accounts that you can automatically sync with. So I wouldn't necessarily say that that's an issue with Quicken either, is tracking your overall options when it comes to, like, you know, linking Chase or linking Wells Fargo, things like that, or ultimately different types of accounts from different banks, credit unions, things like that as well. So you can sync with a lot of those, and you can connect all of your different accounts. One of the things I like about Quicken is that they are an overall financial management tool. So they're not just a budgeting app. They're not just a net worth tracker. They're really kind of a good mix of all of the above. And that's why they're at the top spot in this list, because I feel like they are a pretty good overarching tool, and they are pretty cheap compared to, you know, some of the other paid tools out there as well, which is why they're at the number one spot. Now, the other nice thing about Quicken compared to, as you can see, like, you know, free options or spreadsheets, is that they do automatically connect to your account. So everything is automatically imported. You can go through and review, you know, how much you're spending on different categories within each month as well. So if you want to see, like, set different savings goals, you can do that as well. So you can set, like, hey, I want to save towards a down payment or something like that. You can set, like, vacation goals, property goals, things like that. You can also track debt. As you can see here, you can, you know, manage credit card debt and track, like, your overall accounts on all of those, as well as, you know, building out a budget, like I said here, as well as overall investment tracking. So they do also have the portfolio tracking, so you can compare, like, 401k, Roth IRA, or a personal investment account. So you do really get all of those in this tool, and it does compare quite a lot of details. And I would say it may be a little bit more advanced and not necessarily, you know, it's I would say maybe an intermediate level type tool. It's not necessarily the most basic tool. It's also not necessarily the most advanced tool. So I would say it's somewhere in the middle, but it is a pretty good option, I would say, honestly, for most people. Again, that's why they're at the top spot in this list. I would definitely recommend checking out Quicken, or at least, you know, They did have a free trial for a period. I'm not sure if that still exists. I do think you may have to start with the paid version. But either way, I would recommend checking out Quicken. Again, links are down below in the video description. Moving in at number 2, we have Monarch Money. Now, this is actually the tool that I personally use for managing my personal finances when it comes to tracking income, expenses, net worth tracking, all those kind of things. So you really do get a full gambit here with Monarch Money as well, similarly to Quicken, where you're able to track all of your personal finances. So you can get a good view on, all of your different accounts. I have not really had too many linking issues either with Monarch. So you can link a lot of different types of accounts. You can also customize it and move things around quite a bit. They've also even improved and added to the tool over time as I've used it. So I have found it to be pretty solid. I really, really do like it. That's why I recommend them in this video as well. They've been just an amazing mint alternative, mint replacement. Because you were able to import a lot of your transactions from there when that switchover happened earlier this year. Or when that program sort of switched and changed. So it is really nice with Monarch that you can use to see your overall 401k balances, checking accounts, different brokerages, and you can track your overall percentages as things increase, decrease, which is just kind of nice to get an overall view. Addition to that, they do also include budgeting tools. So you can set and even manage transactions as well through certain types of automatic transaction matching. So you can update the categories for yourself within Monarch. So you can customize the categories. You can make as many as you want, which I also really like. Now, their budgeting tool, personally, I find it to be a little bit rigid. That's just depending on how your income and expenses looks in terms of how you want to go about setting a budget. You can set a budget with their budget tools. I personally like their cash flow reports and seeing the Sankey diagrams. This Sankey diagram alone is one of the main reasons why I really like this app, just because you can automatically, and sometimes you're still going to have to manually edit some of those categories because sometimes certain transactions just may come in a little wonky from your bank. So I would still recommend going through all those transactions manually. But this diagram right here, being able to see overall paychecks, income, expenses, savings, what you're spending your money on, you can break this out on a monthly basis, a weekly, yearly, quarterly, however you want to break it down. And you can see all the different percentages and categories when you link all your different accounts. And it really gives you a good view, especially if you're trying to maximize those credit card rewards points and you're having $200 to spend here, 100 here, and it's how can you actually see where everything's categorized? This is one way to do that. And I really do like Monarch for that tool purpose. And it does also help for kind of setting more a cash flow based budgeting system. So you can see where your overall cash flow sits on a month-to-month basis and see am I roughly within this percentage basis on how much I'm spending on food, groceries, things like that. That can be also a really powerful way to just get a better view of your finances. You can also invite other collaborators too on Monarch, so they do make it easy. Maybe if you want to add people to your account, you can also track your investments. Now, I don't personally really use the investment holdings section of Monarch too much myself. I really in terms of the specific actual stock holdings, they do have that. I just use it more as an overall broad view of overall performance. They do have the performance tracking in here. Again, maybe if you're more into individual stocks, it might make more sense for you there, but it's fine. It does the job. But overall, you can also set goals too in here. It is a little bit basic, I would say, on the financial goals section. But the overall tracking of the tool, being able to see cash flow, and automatically importing all those transactions is pretty nice. And again, now I will say Monarch, they have no advertisements, which is really nice. However, it is a slightly more expensive tool, but honestly, it comes out to be pretty similarly priced to a lot of the other paid tools out there. So it is a paid tool, yes, but it is honestly kind of worth it, especially with no advertising. So you're not getting bombarded with ads either for other alternative products. They're not upselling you on anything. It's pretty much just this tool, and that's it. You also have either the yearly or the monthly plan. So the annual plan is pretty comparable, honestly, to a lot of the other tools. It might be slightly more expensive than Quicken, but honestly, after that, 33% off potentially if that's a limited time, then that's kind of about the similar pricing. So I would give them a try. Nice thing with Monarch, you can also try them out too. So yeah, definitely recommend giving them a shot. Again, they are the tool that I personally use and do really like using them for overall personal finance tracking. Again, they work good for net worth tracking as well as budgeting, and really their cash flow basis and their reports basis. Those sections of the tool are personally what I really find to be some of the most useful. Moving on, next in this list, we have Empower. Now, Empower actually used to be known as Personal Capital, if you heard of that tool. Empower purchased Personal Capital, so they have this Empower Personal Dashboard. They are primarily a retirement-based company. The Empower tools, like they sell, retirement services, primarily retirement planning, things like that, but they do also have this Personal Dashboard. Now, this Personal Dashboard is actually 100% for free. However, if you do have a certain amount of assets that you're tracking, there is a very high probability, like pretty much 100%, if you're over a certain amount of assets, they will try to like email or call you and reach out to try and market their other tools. So that is something worth keeping in mind. Again, you don't necessarily have to answer that. You don't even have to accept those other tools. You could just continue to be like, no thanks. I'm just going to keep using the free tool. So just wanted to make that clear there, that they might try and upsell you on other products, but it is a free tool, which in terms of what's available on it, it is primarily a net worth tracker. However, they do also have some personal finance tools when it comes to budgeting. I get that a lot of people, when they're looking for personal finance software, you're probably also looking for, tracking specific transactions and budgeting and things like that. I will say that the personal dashboard from Empower is more built around net worth tracking, investment tracking. You can see your overall budget and reports, and set like a budget planner. And they also do have a retirement planner, which is kind of nice because that's not really available in a lot of other tools that are in this list, like a specific retirement planner. Because again, that's what Empower's main business is in the retirement planning side of things. But the budget planner is a little bit more limited. It's not necessarily as customizable. Like you can still set goals and see where money is going, but it's not as dynamic as some of the other tools with all the fancy emojis and all the other customization that you can do within the other budgeting tools. But I will say that their net worth tracker and the investments are quite a bit more detailed in terms of overall net returns that you might be tracking and calculating. One of the other things that some people do have problems with Empower is connectivity. That's something I actually ran into when I used to use them quite a while ago. Sometimes certain accounts just won't link. They might not stay linked. That's one of the things that I would say is a bit better with like Quicken, or even Monarch Money also has a pretty dedicated support team too. If you do have any connectivity issues, they can fix it for you as well. Empower, it's a free tool, so you can't really argue with that. But it might not necessarily be exactly what you're looking for. Like if you just want a free tool to track the assets, liabilities, again, it's more for traditional investment accounts, like brokerage accounts as well. The nice thing about, some of the other tools is they do also have the option to track real estate too, which is nice. Because again, Empower is more built around a traditional brokerage account tracking. So if that's what, in retirement accounts, so if you have like 401k IRA, and a lot of accounts there, then maybe Empower might make sense for you. Again, maybe you want to try out their retirement planner. It could also be a good option. And links are down below in the video description if you do want to check out any of the tools mentioned here in today's video. Next in this list, we have YNAB, which is You Need a Budget. Now, this is a more budgetary tool. However, they do also have overall personal finance tools within it, and beyond just budgeting and tracking spending. They do also have a net worth tracker, and you can see like where your overall assets and liabilities are. So that could be good for like a debt pay down situation. So YNAB is very popular in the budget space if you're going to be tracking, your monthly goals, and it is a zero-based budgeting system. So they make it so that every single, set amount of money has a job, so that you have to assign the money to something. So you can't just be like, oh, there's an extra $1,000. Like, no, you have to set that money to something. So whether it be a savings goal, you could set the money to that, or, you set it to all your monthly bills. I would say that's like the best way to go about doing it. Set monthly bills, then you can set like fund money or extra categories, but it makes you actually assign everything to a specific category. Again, whether that be actual spending or just like a goal amount of spending, it does have to sync up with your accounts as well. I will say it's a little bit more advanced and does take a little bit of a learning curve to use. That's why I don't necessarily recommend it to everybody, but it can be really helpful, especially if you have like no idea where any of your money is exactly going. It could be a really good option to kind of give you a more strict and set way about doing things. Again, I don't personally use YNAB. I have tried it out. I kind of was like, it's maybe just not for me, although a lot of people do like it. So I did figure I would have mentioned it in this video. They do also have a free trial as well. Now, they are a completely paid tool, so they do have a free trial, but it is a paid tool. Again, it's very similar pricing, essentially the same pricing on their monthly plan compared to Monarch Money. So very similar there, although I would say that some of the like net worth tracking features are a little bit less advanced on YNAB. It's really more the budgeting tool. That's kind of what they go for. And, again, they are just one of the better budgeting apps. So if that's what you're looking for, then, and as you can see here, this is sort of what it looks like in terms of setting budgets and reports. You can see all of your accounts. They do have pretty good account connectivity and linking as well. You can also keep track of overall like 401k investment accounts too, which can also be nice. So you do still get some of the other personal finance net worth tracking type things. But again, it's a little bit more limited in that respect. I would say it's much better more for the budgeting side of things, in my personal opinion. And, if that's what you're really looking for out of a tool, then this could be still a good option for you. Moving on, next in this list, we have EveryDollar. Now, EveryDollar is by the Dave Ramsey, Ramsey Solutions team. And so EveryDollar is sort of set in their kind of methodology when it comes to money and managing your money. So do keep that in mind when if you are checking out EveryDollar. Now, they do actually have a completely free version that is a more manual version, sort of like a spreadsheet, where you do have to do things manually and add in the budget to your account. I have tested the free version. It is a pretty good option. Again, I would say it's sort of like a more stripped down version of YNAB, a little bit more, honestly, easier, in my opinion, to actually get started with. It's a little bit of like a kind of an easier version of YNAB. It does have less overall features comparatively when you're looking at like all the different strict budgeting tools, but it is very similar in my opinion. You do also have insights and reporting too, so you kind of get a lot of those similar types of features there. If you want the free version, they do have ads inside the free version, and it is manual to link the accounts, which is maybe fine if you don't have that many transactions. If you are on a set amount of paychecks, you have two, they really build it out to be like, well, paycheck one, paycheck two, groceries, rent or mortgage, and like the big expenses. So if you want to do that, you can also get down into the nitty gritty details too. But that's just what they have available on the free version in terms of what that looks like. The paid version does, it costs money, but then there are no ads for anything in there as well. Now, they currently are really still primarily built around budgeting compared to overall personal finances. That's why, again, YNAB and EveryDollar are lower on this list for that respect, because they just don't necessarily have all the same types of net worth tracking, because that's really not what they're focused on. That's not their kind of main demographic. If you're looking more for an overall budgeting personal finance software tool, then EveryDollar could be a good option for you. I do like the overall UI UX of it. It's just a few things, especially on like the overall investment growth side of things, could use some more work. It's still like kind of under development in terms of those features within the tool. As you can see here, they have the overall ability to connect your bank accounts on the paid version. You have paycheck planning, so they really build it out that way. They do also have the financial roadmap. Again, that is something that's still a little bit in development. I do think that is cool, and that it could be a really nice feature once it's like 100% fully fleshed out. I do like that as a tool. But again, it's still a little bit more limited compared to some of the other tools in terms of managing, more customization and more flexibility on their like financial roadmap, long-term goals. But it can be a nice setup to kind of give you like an easy plan. Again, very user-friendly, very customizable in terms of like the emojis and things like that too. Specifically when it comes to the budgeting side of things, So I would definitely recommend giving them a shot, especially because they do have a free version. It could be a good option for you is using EveryDollar. Moving on, last but not least, I get that's the last tool, but I did also want to give sort of an honorable mention to good old Google Sheets. Now, Google Sheets is obviously 100% free tool, and they do actually have an annual budget tracker in here. If you're really more into the budgeting side of personal finances, you can also use Google Sheets as a net worth tracker too, in a similar way. If you just add in like an overall summary, I get this is more for like month to month or like yearly income expenses. But you can do the same thing and find this is just a completely free template that's built into Google Sheets. If you just go like file and then like add a new sheet and you just select make by template, they have the budget template just built in directly into the tool. And there's honestly a lot of other net worth templates that are out there online as well, or you could even just make your own. I've made my own in the past. It's pretty easy. It is a bit more manual again because you don't have the automatic linking, and that's really one of the benefits using other personal finance tools in this list is the automatic syncing and linking with your accounts. That will save you a lot of time and hassle, and then you don't have to feel like, oh, it's such a chore to add in all my transactions manually. But that also does work for some people, so just because you have infinite customization in that way. But I figured I would also just mention Google Sheets because it is a bit more manual, but there are templates out there, and you can use that for all aspects of personal finance, above and beyond just what the software tools might give you. Again, it's a little bit more of the Wild West in terms of customizing it to what you may want, but it could be just another good option. That's why I figured I would also mention it in this list. Again, it's another free option too. So again, pretty much rounds out this list, guys, of some of the best personal finance software tools. Hope you maybe found one that you might be interested in trying out. Again, links are linked down below in the video description if you do want to check out any of the tools mentioned here in today's video. If you guys enjoyed this video or found it helpful, then be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button as well, and notification bell so you're notified whenever I upload a new video. Anyway, guys, that's all for today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.